What's up, everybody? It's October 17th, 2021. Welcome to this early morning edition of the live stream. Today, I want to touch on the numerology of two news stories that happened within just a few hours of one another. First, we're going to talk about the fatal stabbing of a member of Parliament, David Amess, who represented the South and West constituency in Britain, dying in church of a stabbing on October 15th. Later that night, we had a shooting in Houston, Texas, where 3 police officers were ambushed outside a bar, allegedly, killing one of these officers. And in order to understand the numerology of both of these stories, we're going to examine, again, the Society of Jesus, also known as the Jesuit Order, and how the numerology of this organization was heavily attributed in both of these news stories. After we talk about these news stories, while we're on the topic of the Jesuits, I want to talk more about a riddle connecting the football team, the Green Bay Packers, to Peter Faber, a founder of the Jesuit Order, and some really interesting things regarding Aaron Rodgers' injury back in 2013, how it connects to the canonization of Peter Faber, and among other things. But first, let's focus on the main number connecting these two stories. So October 15th is the 288th day on the Gregorian calendar. And using the standard alphabetic order, David Anthony Andrew Amess MP sums to 288. And for anybody who happens to be new to this channel, English ordinal, the alphabetic order, is the simplest cipher, numbering the alphabet 1 through 26, each letter getting a number relative to its position in the alphabet. This cipher can also be reduced, each double-digit number dropped to a single digit. This is also called Pythagorean Gematria. And as we go on, we'll also look at the extended methods, particularly Latin, also known as Jewish Gematria, which uses the ancient Latin alphabetic order. So in ordinals, David Anthony Andrew Amess MP, which is an official title for members of Parliament, sums to 288. And later that night, we had a shooting at the Houston Police Department members. And notice how 288 is also the ordinal value of Houston Police Department. Furthermore, October 15th leaves 77 days on the calendar. Notice how Houston sums to 77 using the reverse alphabetic order. And the number 77 is significant to police shootings in the state of Texas. You may recall back in the year 2016, there was a murder of 5 police officers, and that occurred on the date July 7th, written 7/7. Notice how in the reduction cipher, police shooting, police officer, police department, all 77 in standard reduction. But let's focus on this story about David Amess being stabbed in church and all of the interesting things that popped out. We start with the fact that he was born in the year 52. And with the S exception, David Amess sums to 52. So does the word stabbing in reverse reduction. On the date he was stabbed, Amess was a span of 204 days after his birthday. Notice how in Jewish or Latin gematria, the word stabbed equals 204. This word also has gematria of 46, connecting to the numerology of the date he was stabbed. Notice his birthday also had a life lesson number of 46. And 46, the reduction value of sacrifice, which is a very significant word in this story, as we'll see. Sacrifice summing to 46. He was a member of Parliament, which also has that 46 value. David Amess was a member of Parliament since the year 97. And notice how in ordinal, his name sums to 97. So does his full name in standard reduction. Again, he represented South and West, which has reduction gematria of 97 with master number exceptions. South and West, using the reverse alphabetic order, sums to 151, and this connects to the date that he died. October 15th in Great Britain is written as 15/10, like the number 151 in numerology. Here in the United States, we write this date as 1015 with the digits 115. The word killing has double gematria of 115. And this man was born in the city of Plaistow, which sums to 115. His full name has gematria of 115. Just like Society of Jesus, 115, again, with master number exceptions. The Society of Jesus has a Latin motto, which is Ad Majorem Dei Gloriam, for the greater glory of God in Latin. And notice how the Society of Jesus motto also sums to 115 in reverse reduction. But what's so wild about this is the Jewish gematria, 1016. Think about the date that this story made national headlines. Yesterday, October 16th, 1016. This police ambush in Houston actually occurred shortly after midnight, which means it happened on the date 1016. And in that same cipher, Houston police ambush has a value of 1016. The Jesuit order was officially formed on the date September 27th. The mayor of Houston, where this ambush occurred, is Sylvester Turner, who was born on September 27th. Notice how his birthday falls in the year 54. This is the reduction value of Jesuit order, 54. Furthermore, the Jesuit order's motto has ordinal gematria in English of 173. This also syncs up with the name David Amess, 173 reverse. And again, he represented the South and West constituency. His birthday is also connected to the Jesuit order. Check out how he was born on the 26th of March. Well, the 26th of March is written as 26/3 in the United Kingdom, 263. His full name in Jewish gematria sums to 2603. And the number 263 is very significant to the Society of Jesus. That's because Society of Jesus equals 56. And the 56th prime number is 263, connecting to this man's name and his birth numerology. Also, the Jesuit order's motto has this 506 in extended as well. Measuring from Queen Elizabeth's birthday to the death of this member of Parliament, you get 177 days, and that's the ordinal value of the Jesuit order. David Amess received Knight Bachelor honors back in the year 2015. So his official title is Sir. And check out what happens when you write out this full name. With the MP included, you get 154 S exception. Without the MP, you also get 154 in reverse. And the number 154 is also significant to the Society of Jesus, which was founded in the year 1540. This, of course, represents the number 154 in numerology. Using the alphabetic order, the phrase ritual sacrifice sums to 154. In the reverse alphabetic order, ritual sacrifice sums to 251. And on the date that David Amess died, the Jesuit order turned exactly 25,000 100 weeks old, like the number 251. 251 is also a prime number. Notice how it's the 54th prime number. 54, we just mentioned. Jesuit order, 54. Houston Mayor Turner, born in the year 54. 54 is also the gematria of the word sun. And consider how the Jesuit emblem is essentially the sun. This man's death being blamed on Islamic radicalism. Notice how Islam also has this value of 54. And this ritual sacrifice code proves to be significant over and over again. The death of this member of parliament is being connected to Joe Cox, who was another member of parliament, who was murdered back in June of 2016, allegedly shot and stabbed to death. She died on June 16th, the date written 616. And notice how 616 is the Jewish value of ritual sacrifice. This man's death fell 347 days before the Jesuit anniversary. And in Hebrew Gematria, the word for sacrifice sums to 347. 347, another prime number, the 69th prime number. And David Amess died at the age of 69. The Jesuit order equals 69. Catholic Church equals 69. This Jesuit emblem, which is, of course, the sun, you can also see the rays of the sun, or the atmosphere known as the corona. Now, in real life, the corona of the sun is only visible during a total solar eclipse. And, of course, the word eclipse also has this gematria of 69, the age that this man was. And notice how his last name has matching gematria with moon and eclipse. Again, using the alphabetic order, his full name with his knight title sums to 305. And if you measure from the last total solar eclipse to the date of his death, you get exactly 305 days. In fact, his death in Lay-on-Sea also fell 50 days before the next total solar eclipse, and Lay-on-Sea equals 50 in reduction. David Amess received his title, Sir, as part of the 2015 New Year Honors, effective on January 1st. And if you measure from that date to the date he died, you get 2,480 days. And that's the reverse value of human sacrifice. Now, the last time a total solar eclipse passed over Great Britain was on the date August 11th, or 8/11, back in 1999. And isn't it interesting that he died 8,101 days after that eclipse, which fell on 8/11? The words death and homicide, both 118. So perhaps one of the most Masonic cities in the world, seeing a heavily Jesuit ritual here. Back to the story about the police ambush in Houston. We want to talk more about Sylvester Turner, the mayor of Houston, who, again, born on the Jesuit anniversary. So on the date of this police ambush, notice how he was in office for exactly 302 weeks. Sam Houston, who the city of Houston was named after, was born on the date March 2nd, written 302. And in reverse reduction, Houston equals 32. This shooting occurring on the date leaving 77 days in the year. And notice how Houston equals 112. The Jesuit order has, for a very, very long time, operated in exactly 112 nations. But check this out. If you measure from the date that Sylvester Turner was born to the date that Sylvester Turner took office, he was a span of 61 years and 98 days old. 6198. Those are the same four digits found in the gematria of Society of Jesus. 1698. It's worth noting that Sylvester was born on the Jesuits' 414th anniversary, exactly 414 years. Think about how the phrase bar ambush equals 414. Maybe that's a coincidence. I don't know. But notice how the name of the officer who died in this story was Deputy Kareem Atkins. Deputy Kareem Atkins with another 115 Gematria. We just talked about this number. Society of Jesus 115, their motto 115. Sam Houston was even born on a date with numerology of 115, right? The name Kareem Atkins also stands out. Notice how it sums to 46 like Houston, Texas. 46. In the reverse alphabetic order, Kareem Atkins equals 197. And this is pretty important because 197 is the 45th prime number. This shooting in Houston was at 45 Norte Sports Bar. So once again, we have a shooting at an establishment with a number in the name. 45 connecting to the gematria of the man who died. Also, in the alphabetic order, Houston bar ambush sums to 197. And you can even take this a step further, right? 197, well, the 197th prime number is 1201. Ad majorem Dei gloriam in Latin translates to for the greater glory of God, which is 1201 in Jewish gematria. So very, very interesting stuff. But I want to talk about a little bit deeper of a riddle connected to the sports world. And if you'll check the description down below this video, you'll see that back in May, I made a video that highlighted the connection between the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, and their coach Matt LaFleur to the film Dodgeball, which was released back in 2004. And the post was pretty interesting. In fact, I made this... Okay, let me take a step back. On April 30th, I believe, last year, I made a blog post about Aaron Rodgers and his Saturn return, right? This was on April 30th. I made this blog post. And I talked about how Aaron Rodgers is linked to Saturn through the number 93. And his coach, Matt LaFleur, also has gematria of 93. And Lambeau Field is connected to Saturn and all this. Well, on the date of Aaron Rodgers' Saturn return, we had the shooting death of an NFL player, David McMillan. And his name has matching gematria with Saturn return and Aaron Rodgers' Saturn return. And there was a wealth of interesting numbers that I pointed out. And the reason I made this post is because the next day, Aaron Rodgers' girlfriend, now fiancée, Shailene Woodley, was having her Saturn return. And then it just so happens that, just a day later, we had a shooting in Green Bay. And that shooting was at 7:30 p.m., which was a number I talked about. Packers 73, Packers quarterback 73, Saturn 73, Shailene Woodley 73, Shailene 73. And this was all connected to Shailene Woodley's Saturn return. No doubt about it. We called it ahead of time. So I made a video after this talking about why we made this connection and how it was connected to dodgeball. So I did a little more digging the other day because I realized this was bigger than I realized. And how strange is it that in the year 2013, the Green Bay Packers got together to play a special game of dodgeball. And Aaron Rodgers was the captain of the champion dodgeball team. And you got to appreciate the date of this game, right? June 6th of 13. 13 is the sixth prime number, so this is a date that can kind of be broken down to 666. But check out how old Aaron Rodgers was on the date of this dodgeball game. Exactly 1,540 weeks. The Jesuit order, founded in 1540. Now let's look at one of the founders of the Society of Jesus. His name is Peter Faber. And this guy is supremely connected to the Packers. First of all, look at his name in French. Pierre Lefebvre? Lefebvre? I don't know how to pronounce French, guys, but doesn't this name remind you of Peter Lafleur? Peter Lafleur, the main character in the film Dodgeball, played by Vince Vaughn. Peter Lafleur. Pierre Lafleur, right? Well, check out his other French name, Favre. Favre. Well, isn't that interesting? Because prior to Aaron Rodgers, the Packers' last starting quarterback was, of course, Brett Favre. And Brett Favre has matching gematria with Jesuit order. Of course, there's the connection between Peter Lafleur and Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, right? Remember, Brett Favre was traded from Atlanta, and the Falcons have that Jesuit red color. Falcons with matching gematria with Vatican. And you have to appreciate that Ron Wolf, according to this news article, said that he spent 45 minutes watching Brett Favre play before deciding to trade for him. And Ron Wolf, 45, Brett Favre, 45. The Atlanta GM at the time, Ken Herrick, 45. So back to this film Dodgeball. The film Dodgeball is 93 minutes long. And this is another number connected to the Green Bay Packers, which equals 93. Both Aaron Charles Rodgers and Brett Lorenzo Favre have gematria of 93, just like head coach and Matt LaFleur, who was born on a date with 93 numerology. And remember, Brett Favre first took the Packers to the playoffs in the 93 NFL season. Matt LaFleur, by the way, was born on November 3rd, 11/3. That's the Jewish gematria of Dodgeball, 11/3. So back to Peter Faber. Peter Faber was canonized by Pope Francis on Francis's birthday. In fact, the first birthday Francis celebrated while he was Pope. And they canonized Peter Faber on December 17th of 2013. Now, why would they canonize this man in the year 2013? Well, look how old Peter Faber was when he died. He was a span of exactly 2,103 weeks old. These are the same digits as the year 2013. Furthermore, he died on the 213th day of the year. In Satanic Gematria, the word death equals 213. Now, in the year 2013, Aaron Rodgers got injured and missed about half of the season. And then, miraculously, Aaron Rodgers recovered just in time for the final game of the season against the Chicago Bears. And he won that game in the final seconds, taking the Packers to the playoffs. Now, that game in 2013 was on 12/29. And that game was played 12 days after the canonization of Peter Faber. And of course, Aaron Rodgers wears number 12. And remember, the injury that year was really weird. In fact, he's done this twice now. So Aaron Rodgers sums to 558 in English Extended. That's the same value as broken collarbone, 558. And we talked about how he's connected to Saturn. In Sumerian Gematria, Saturn equals 558. Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone again, I think in the 2017 season, right? So he's got a lot of connections there. But, so yeah, he comes back 12 days after the canonization of Peter Faber and takes the Packers into the playoffs. But the rabbit hole runs really deep, and I just want to touch on how wild this really is. So Peter Faber had a Latin name, Petrus Faber. Let's just pronounce it that way. And notice the Latin gematria of this Latin name. Petrus Faber, 1327. Doesn't 1327 look a lot like a football score to you? 13-27. So what I did here is I pulled up a list of every game in NFL history that's ever finished with a final score of 13-27. And there's not as many of them as you would think. There's only been about 70, which is less than one per year. And Brett Favre has been a part of many of these. We start with the fact that, okay, look at this. This is too weird, guys. So check out these right here. I know this might be small. I apologize. I'll try to make this a little bigger. So in the year 1990 and 1991, the Bears and Packers played 2 games that finished with a score of 13-27 in back-to-back seasons, 90 and 91. And then the next game to finish with a 13-27 score was played the next year, and the starter was Brett Favre. Petrus Faber, whose name was also Favre, right? And then what do you know? We get Brett Favre with a 13-27 game. And then Favre never played another 13-27 game until he played for the Minnesota Vikings in 2009. We see here 9/20/2009. And then in 2010, his final season, he played another one. Right there, 11-14. Now, Rodgers played in one 13-27 game, and that occurred in the year 2016. And this 13-27 game fell exactly, where's this post? Here it is. 154 weeks after the canonization of Saint Favre. 154. Remember the Jesuit order, 1540. Now, remember we mentioned how Rodgers got hurt in the year 2013 when Saint Favre was canonized? The first 2 games that were played after Aaron Rodgers' injury both finished with a score of 13-27. See, the Packers lost against the Giants. They lost against the Eagles the week before that. Both of those games, 13-27, after he was injured in 2013. And again, Petrus Faber, 13-27 in Latin Gematria. If you'll check the description below, you'll see a link to my video called Signs of Time, where I break down a similar riddle in the NFL, where I look at all the games that finished with a score of 22-7. I'm telling you guys, the NFL looks to be rigged more than anybody can even comprehend. And these final scores tying into Favre and Rodgers, I mean, this is wild stuff. So I'm going to end it there. We went really deep in this one. But, hey, who knows where this rabbit hole ends, right? All right, guys, thanks to everybody who jumped in to the early edition of the live stream. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And we will talk to you next time. See ya.